Hello everyone, my name is Boogeyman and I'm back, and today I'm going to be bringing you an absolute incredible video. This one is the first ever team tier list for Marvel Strike Force. Now I'm saying it's the first ever because I googled it on YouTube and I could not see anyone else that did this, so I'm gonna say it's the first one. Please, I hope it's actually the first one, otherwise I will be killed in the comments. But this is something I've seen people do for other games like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. They arrange popular teams in the game based on how good they think they are, and that's what I'm doing today from S to F tier. Similar to the normal tier list that I do, this is assessing the overall value of a team. So you're gonna see teams that are really good in specific modes ranking low on this tier list, so just keep that in mind because, you know, overall value right here. So you're gonna see teams like Mercenaries, they're a C tier. I know they're not a C tier on on Alliance War defense, but I just, we'll get to them. So you're gonna see a bunch of popular teams. You're also gonna see some teams where characters are used multiple times. For example, BKT is on here, but I also have Guardians. I'm putting all popular teams in the game on this list, so if there's any teams I'm missing, make sure to comment them down below. I believe I included most of them. You're also going to see question marks on teams. That's because there's multiple characters you could put in the slot, and I don't think the team's ranking varies that much based on who you put in that last slot. For example, Brawlers, I have 2 blank slots. You could really put in any 2 Brawlers, and I think the team's going to work about as well as it would either way. You know, Mercenaries, you could put Sniper or Killmonger in there. I don't think it's going to affect the tier ranking of that team that much. So that's why you see question marks on some teams. You're also going to see wild cards in the bottom corner. Those are characters that I think work on pretty much any team. So, you know, they just put them anywhere. You know, they're just good characters. You can use them anytime, anywhere. I think they'll do you a lot of good. So that's why I put them there. So those are pretty much S tier characters. I have this there because characters like Ultron don't have a team on here, but I want you to still know Ultron's incredible. He could lead any team in Blitz and such like that. So we're going to go S to F tier. I'll talk about all the teams. And again, this tier list will probably change greatly over time, and hopefully we will then sort of adjust it slowly over time to more accurately represent what the community thinks of these teams. I did post this on the Discord server and I did respond to what people said, so hopefully this is a somewhat accurate representation of what the community believes. So first off, on teams that I think are great, we have Black Order, the X-Men team with Phoenix, and Inhumans. I think all 3 of these teams do incredible things in every mode. I just think that they're good teams. Like, really, when you see these teams in blitzes, you don't want to fight them. I think they're incredibly competent. I think they do well in Alliance War. I think they do well in Arena. I think they do well in blitzes. I just think these are strong teams, very competent, very good characters. But you know, they're mostly carried by the legendary characters on their team. Black Order is pretty just competent all around. But X-Men really carried by Phoenix. You know, without Phoenix, that team goes down a little bit in rankings. Same thing for Inhumans. They really depend on Black Bolt, but still, that is the Inhumans team, so I put them at S tier. That's how you build them. I just think these teams are all really good. Next up, I have a bunch of teams that I think are relatively good. For example, AIM. I think AIM are really competent. I think they do very well in a lot of modes. I have the 2 blank slots there because, again, I think you could put any of the 2. I know people like Assaulter, but I don't like Assaulter. So I put 2 blank spots there, so you could put any of the minions you want in there except Infector. Nobody likes Infector. Next up, Asgard. I know they're like really good on Alliance War defense. You know, probably S tier, but you know, since not every mode is Alliance War defense, I still think they're competent in other modes. That's why I put them A tier. Symbiotes, I think, are competent. Symbiotes plus Spider-Man. You know, they're really good in Raids and Dark Dimension, but again, similar to Asgardians, I think they're still relatively competent in other modes. Now I have this weird Kree team a lot of people build. I put them A tier. This is mostly just because Captain Marvel and Minerva are on this team. Captain Marvel and Minerva are just really good characters that can bring any team up and make them really good. Then I have Shield. I have a blank spot because you could put Coulson in there if you were going for like a defense team, or you could put Shield Operative in if you didn't have Coulson. Either way, I think Shield is a pretty competent team. I think they get stuff done. I'm a big fan of the Shield team, especially because they do very well in Alliance War defense. Next up, the B tier. I think Supernatural. Actually, a lot of these teams are going to follow a similar aspect. So Supernatural, Fantastic Four, Brotherhood, Power Armor, Marauders, and BKT, I think are all good teams. I think they would get beat by a lot of these A or S tier teams with an average fight in Blitz or something like that. But they're still good teams. I consider them better than average, but I don't think they're the best teams in the game. I think they could get beat by a lot of these S or A tier teams. So that's why I put them in the B tier. The only things to note, BKT really meant for raids. That's really where they're the best at. They do fine in other modes, but really you're using them for raids. Power Armor are really an Alliance War offense team. Brotherhood, very focused on taking down Shield. But you know, again, I think these teams are all competent. I don't think they're A tier necessarily. I don't think they're that good. Next up is C tier. These are teams I think are just mid-range teams. I think they do fine in a lot of modes. Defenders, I consider the baseline. They're average in everything, which is good. So I always put them at C. I think that's an excellent way to build a tier list around. Always put defenders at the center. Next up, you're going to see teams like Mercenaries and Hydra in here. I know these characters are great in Alliance War defense, but unlike Asgardians, where I think Asgardians have a lot of good aspects and they just get a tiny boost in Alliance War defense, I think Hydra and Mercenaries rely too heavily on Alliance War defense for their special buffs. I think they're not that great in other modes. You know, I think they lose too much when they're not on Alliance War defense, so that's why I put them here. They just struggle in other modes. I mean, again, Mercenaries didn't get that big of a buff since last patch, if you're not accounting for the stuff that they get in Alliance War defense. So I think those teams are good. I think they rely too heavily on Alliance War defense. Next up, we have Brawlers and Guardians of the Galaxy. I think they're both competent teams, and I think they're good. I think they do well in a lot of modes, but I think they would lose to a lot of these B tier teams. Next up, we have D tier. Sinister Six and Wakandans I just don't think are that good. I think they struggle on a lot of modes, really meant for raids, at least the Wakandans are. And Kree with Ronin, you know, they're a fine team, but I just think they would lose to a lot of these other teams that fall above them. E tier, we have Hand. Hand's kind of garbage. They're not that good of a team, so I put them there. The only team I think they're better than is Ravagers. I think they're actually the worst team in the game. That's why I put them F tier. I don't know who you'd even put in with that as that last member for the Ravagers. I mean, who wants to go with the Ravagers team? So anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this tier list down below. If you have any questions about where I placed a character, make sure to tell me. I'd love to discuss this with you guys down below. I think that's the best part about doing a tier list, is sort of getting to talk about what you guys think, and you know, do you agree with where I placed characters? I think I included every team that exists in the game, at least every major team. I know there are some teams like Ant-Man and Wasp, or you could do like Vision and Scarlet Witch, but I think I'm including like the big teams. Like in all reality, these are the common teams you will see in the game when you're going along Blitz or Alliance War defense. You know, these are the teams you will see. So I think I gave an accurate assessment of all the teams that exist in the game. And I know I'm gonna have people comment that are gonna say, but Red Skull's incredible in Alliance War defense. They're not that good in other modes. You know, Blitz, just take out Red Skull first and then you win. Then they're just a normal team like Hand, you know. So you know, Mercenaries, I don't know, maybe they're a little better than we thought they were, but I just think outside of Alliance War defense, I don't think Mercenaries are that good of a team. I believe those are the two teams I think I'm going to get the most flack for. I think those are the teams that people are going to be like, wow, why'd you put them in the C tier? They're so good in Alliance War defense. Again, you know, this is an overall assessment of characters in the game, and knowing that a lot of these teams are sometimes designed for specific modes. This tier list will probably change in the future. We have the X-Force members coming out next month, such as Negasonic Teenage Warhead, Domino, and X-23. So probably next month we'll be seeing that team along here with the other characters. If I had to guess where they'll be, I'm putting B tier right now. They're an Alliance War offense team. Fantastic Four is an Alliance War offense team, so I probably expect them to be around the level of Fantastic Four in terms of power. So that's where I bet X-23s and the X-Force are going to end up next month. But you know, again, let me know what you think about these teams, and hopefully we can keep adjusting this tier list until it is a perfect reflection of the community, because the most recent tier list I put out, you guys actually seem to agree with it a lot, which I'm not used to. So I usually get killed in the comments. So hopefully you guys like this tier list. With that being said, what do I really know? Because I am only an 18-year-old. I hope everyone can have a happy and healthy day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Signing off, everyone.